morning, beloveds. Actually, technically, I guess it's just afternoon. We had one of those days that we pray for. The last few food bank events that we have done, there has been a line before we, even before we get there, and the food's gone in, an hour. And today, the food bank actually was able to come pick some of it back up and take it to another food event, because the need is going down, and that is a good thing. When we go through practitioner training, one of the things they ask us is, are you ready to live in a world where you're not needed as a practitioner? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it could have been a number of things. The weather was a little, but just the fact that the food bank told us ahead of time that they've noticed that the need is dropping, that's a good thing. So, but we helped the people that showed up that needed it, and we are happy to do that, and we will continue to do that until the day we are not needed. So it was an interesting day. I was going to do this at the end of the event, and because the rain held off until 10 o'clock, and then it just came down, and I was like, I'm in a tin can with a pretty heavy rain. So I was like, so I had a couple of errands to run, so now I'm doing it now. Otherwise, all you would have gotten to listen to would have been the rain on my car, which, by the way, is a nice sound. I do like to sit in my car in the rain. For the purpose of this video, no. All right, so let's get on with 365 Days of Richer Living. Our title today is I Free Myself from Every Sense of Condemnation, either against myself or others. Our Bible quote is, He that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light. And that is 1 John 2, 9 and 10. When John said that it is impossible for us to remain in the light while we hate someone else, he was pointing to the same truth that Jesus had in mind when he said, Forgive and you will be forgiven. We could not expect the law of good to operate for us alone, shutting all others out. It is only what we share with others that is really ours. We are so constituted that when we think evil of others or condemn them, it is impossible to escape this condemnation for ourselves. This is why Jesus said, Judge not, be ye not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. Everything that goes out comes back again. Our thoughts and acts move in circles. I bless myself for the good I would do, and I bless everyone for the good that they would do. I recognize the presence of God at the center of my own being, and I know that the divine spirit within me responds to the same spirit in others, comforting, unifying, and making whole. There is no criticism, no false judgment, no unkindness in me. My whole thought and feeling is one of praise, of thanksgiving, and blessing. Today I am living as though this moment were eternity. I am recognizing that the kingdom of good is at hand. Seeing the divine in everything, I know that the divine in all things responds to me. Receiving the silent blessing of the Spirit, I permit this blessing to enrich the life of everyone I meet, to bring comfort, faith, and good cheer to everyone I contact. Therefore, I walk in the light in which there is no darkness, in that love in which there is no fear, and in that life in which there is no death. Judge not, lest you be judged. How often do we hear that? And then we turn around and do it. And that's one of the reasons why Reverend Jesse would talk about the difference between judgment and discernment. We are called on to love everyone, period, because everyone is a child of God. We are not required to like everyone. There's a difference. Just like there's a difference between judgment and discernment. Because we have to make choices. And to make choices, we compare. And then we have to decide which one. Discernment. But that doesn't make one choice wrong, bad, or any evil, and the other one good. It's just a decision. And so there's that play between what does judgment mean and why are we making these judgments or discernments. And really, honestly, it comes down to emotion, just like with love and like. We are called to and required to, I will say that, required to love one another. But that does not mean we have to like each other, and that does not mean that we have to put ourselves in each other's sphere of influence if we don't get along. Because everybody is different, and you're going to find people that you vibe with and you want to be with, and you're going to find people that you don't vibe with and you don't want to be with them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we are not judging them as bad and wrong. We're just saying, well, you're different, and you're different in a way that doesn't vibe with me. I bless you as a child of God, and you will find your tribe. And so that's where that is. It's like when we, and I'm going to use the word other people, we make them bad and wrong for who they are. Well, that's not what we're called to do. We're called to recognize everybody as a child of God. But we're also allowed to choose to be around people that have the similar interests to us. So, just because you love them doesn't mean you have to be around them. And there are people who do things that we just don't agree with. And we are allowed to not agree with them and to go and do our own stuff. The idea is not to make them bad and wrong because they don't agree with us. And that can be tricky, especially when we bring that emotion in. So that's where it is. When you meet somebody that you don't agree with, you bless them as a child of God, you love them as a child of God, and then you send them on their way and you go your own way. You don't have to stay in the same and try and change their mind. You don't have to. That's one of the reasons why we don't proselytize. We want to show you who our God is by the example that we set. That's why we try and be kind. And I say try because everybody has a bad day. And I'm not going to beat myself up for having a bad day. But I am going to try, even when I'm having a bad day, to be kind. I.e., I'm going to remove myself from the situation if I don't think I can be kind. It happens. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. The difference between judgment and discernment comes down to making the other bad and wrong. The difference between loving somebody and liking somebody, again, we can love somebody without liking somebody. And if we don't like them, then we simply choose to do other things and not be around them. But we still love them as a child of God. We still know them as a child of God. We still wish them the best, because nobody is left out of the love of God. Nobody is left out of the law. And I recognize that the good I want for myself, I want for everybody, whether I like them or not, because I love them as a child of God. I know, and it's something to it is something to wrap your head around. And there are people, I will grant you, that occasionally I look at and go, and then I have to remind myself, you're a child of God. You're a child of God, and I'm going to pray that you come to the realization that you're a child of God and that your source is within you, not from around you, not from outside of you. Your source is. And that love is available to you when you are ready and open and ready and willing to open to it. So I free myself from every sense of condemnation, either against myself or others. If I want to be forgiven, then I have to forgive. If I want to be loved, I have to love. Who do I have to love? Everyone, including myself. He that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness. He that loveth his brother abide in light. And who is your brother? Absolutely everyone. We are all children of God. So if you want to live and walk in the light, you got to love everybody. Doesn't mean you have to be in everybody's presence, but you have to love them. John said so, and so did Jesus. When John said that it is impossible for us to remain in the light while we hate someone else, he was pointing to the same truth that Jesus had in mind when he said, quote, "Forgive and you will be forgiven." Okay? We cannot expect the law of good to operate for us alone, shutting all others out. It's not the way it works. The law does not judge. The law always says yes. And it says yes to everyone. It says yes to everyone. So I can't say, well, I want this, but I don't want anybody else to have that. It's just for me alone. It's not the way it works. Not the way it works. It means if I want this, whatever this is, world peace, resource allocation, that's my thing, resource allocation. If I want appropriate resource allocation for myself, I want it for everyone. Because the law is going to go, oh, resource allocation, all right. And the law is not going to say that's a good idea, or the law is not going to say that's a bad idea. The law is going to say, oh, that's an idea, and there's a lot of emotion around that. We'll do that. It is only what we share with others that is truly ours. If we truly want love, we give love. If we truly want forgiveness, we give forgiveness. And sometimes the person that we have to forgive is ourselves. So don't forget to start there. We are so constituted that when we think evil of others or condemn them, it is impossible to escape this condemnation for ourselves. And that's the beam. Why remove the mote of dust in your neighbor's eye when you should be removing the beam in your eye? Frequently, what we do judge and what we do condemn in others is what we don't like about ourselves. So when we catch ourselves judging another, then we can go back and say, okay, why does this bother me? What in this bothers me? And do I have some work to do? Now, there are straight up examples. Hurting another person. But that's not judgment, because that is a misuse of our gifts. That is discernment, because we don't have to make the other wrong. We're not supposed to hurt each other. The golden rule says not to do that. So, when we get down to the moral and ethical, do you want it to happen to yourself? If the answer is no, then yeah, it's wrong. And so we don't have to worry about that. But if somebody likes something that you don't like, well, you get emotion racked up in that, and you make them wrong for liking something like music. They were talking about music. If there's a band that you love and somebody else absolutely can't stand, and they make you wrong for loving that band, i.e. Nickelback. I like Nickelback. And people will make me wrong for liking Nickelback. Well, that's a judgment. Because it's just music. It's not hurting anybody. So, what about me loving Nickelback takes away from them? And why do they have to make me feel bad about it? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. That's just, so, it's things like that. And we get all bent out of shape about it. And I'm like, but how does me doing this hurt you? I would say the same thing about the entire LGBTQ plus community. How does who they love hurt anybody else? How does it change the sanctity of marriage? It doesn't. Your marriage is just fine when you let two lesbians get married. It has nothing to do with your marriage. Absolutely nothing to do with your marriage. That's a judgment. That is a judgment. A straight up judgment. And that's what Jesus and John were telling us to let go of. If it's not hurting you and it's not hurting another person, why are you making them wrong about it? Because the law isn't going to do it. The law is not going to make you, the law is just like, love is love. All right, I got off onto a soapbox. Let's get back to the reading. This is why Jesus said, judge not that ye be not judged, for what judgment ye judge shall ye be judged. Everything that goes out comes back again. Our thoughts and acts move in circles. It's a reciprocal relationship. You send it out, you get it back. You send out love, you get love. You send out forgiveness, you get forgiveness. You send out hate, it's going to come back to you. I bless myself for the good I would do, and I bless everyone for the good they would do. I recognize the presence at the center of my own being, and I know that the divine spirit within me responds to the same spirit in others. The spirit that I know within me is the spirit that is within others. That is the spirit when I meet someone who is not acting like a child of God. And it's not for me to determine whether they are acting like a child of God or not. But when I don't feel comfortable with them, then I don't feel like they're acting like a child of God. The best thing I can do is respond to the spirit within them. Treat them with the kindness. Frequently, you treat people with a kindness they don't think that they deserve. And then they stop and they go, wait, she was nice and I wasn't. What's going on here? And that's when the spirit within them can wake up and go, let me tell you some stuff. And sometimes that's all it takes. It also does not mean that after you have treated them with kindness, you have to stick around, okay? You have done your job. Feel free to move on. It might take them some time to come to the realization. They gotta listen. So, that's this divine spirit within me responds to the same spirit in others, comforting, unifying, and making whole. There's no criticism, no false judgment, no unkindness in me. Yep. I'm going to say that to myself every morning when I get up. There is no unkindness in me. Because is it always true? No. But do I work on it? Yes. Because I want that to be my default setting. I want kindness to be my default setting. I want to respond with kindness in the face of just about everything. So my first response will almost always be kind. You keep pushing, my next response may not be kind. But it won't be mean. And then I will remove myself from the situation. And that is always the choice. If you cannot be kind, remove yourself from the situation. My whole thought and feeling is one of praise, of thanksgiving, and blessing. Today, I am living as though this moment were eternity. I am recognizing that the kingdom of good is at hand. Seeing the divine in everything, I know that the divine in all things responds to me. Because that's what it is. The divine in me responds to the divine in you. And sometimes they're having a completely different conversation than you and I are. And it's interesting. And then we walk away and we think about it and we go, and then that divine spirit is going, well, did you notice this? Did you notice this? Did you know? And then we're like, wait a minute, what? That's the way it works. That's why kindness works. Even when you are kind to unkind people. Because the spirit within them receives the kindness. And it gives that divine spirit within them an opening. It gives it an opening. Receiving the silent blessing of the Spirit, I permit this blessing to enrich the life of everyone I meet, to bring comfort, faith, and good cheer to everyone I contact. I'm not doing anything other than being the authentic child of God that I am. The Spirit within me blesses them. Therefore, I walk in the light in which there is no darkness, in the love in which there is no fear, in the life in which there is no death. Well, all right, Ernest. It's not a small mission today. Our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to bless myself for the good I would do and bless everyone for the good they would do. To recognize the presence of God at the center of our own being. That's our mission. But honestly, that's our mission every day. It is. So I'm going to encourage you. It is early enough. You still have plenty of time to do something loving for yourself, to do something kind for yourself, to do something compassionate for yourself. Whatever that looks like to you today. And what that looks like to me today is to go reheat dinner from last night for lunch today, because I'm starving. And the kindness of my husband for choosing a dinner that he knew would leave leftovers, because he knows I'm bad at feeding myself on Saturdays. He likes to tell me I'm an adult cat. I probably could take care of myself, but I just shouldn't. So, yes. Loving, kind, and compassionate. Sometimes it's just reheating some food, leftover food, and feeding yourself. That's what it can be. And sometimes it is removing yourself from the presence of situations where you do not feel like you can be kind. Because it is a kindness to yourself as well. All right? Just bear that in mind. We are called and required to love everyone. It doesn't mean we have to stay in a situation with them. Okay? We can love them from a distance. And that is my drum beat. Just like Ernest's drum beat is consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. Know that you are a beloved child of God, in whom God is well pleased always and forever. We live in that state of grace. So whatever you decide to do today, do what you need to do to make it a good day. A good day. If you can make it a fantastic day, a wonderful day, great. Some days that's too much. Some days a good day is enough. All right, beloveds? I would encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, and or rest, because we need that too. That engages the mind and the body just as much as exercise. Don't let me kid you. All right? Drink some water. Open your windows. If it rains off and on all day, it'll make for a nice sound. Drink some water, or plenty of water. Take care of yourself. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven now. The good is all around you. So look for the good. See the good. Because when you look for it, you see it. When you see it, it multiplies. So the more you look, the more you see, the more you see, the more there is. And that's how we make a world that works for everyone. All right? We all look for the good and praise it, like Emma says. Okay, beloveds. Do what you need to do to make it a wonderful day. And Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. on Facebook Live with you. And I'll be back with you at 9 a.m. And then we'll have an amazing service right here on Facebook Live with you. And if you don't catch us there, you can catch us on YouTube. All right? The Creative Life Spiritual Center YouTube channel is that. And my YouTube channel for these is the Running Rev Ryan. There's a year's worth of material up there. Go take a look. All right, beloveds? Have a wonderful day. 2 hands. I know I did that once and I was like, that looks a little odd. I don't do it that way. Have a wonderful day. I know I'm being silly. It's Saturday. I can be silly. It doesn't have to be Saturday to be silly. I can be silly anytime. I'm going to turn the camera off now. Bye.